Good morning, students. Welcome to another lecture of English. Today we will discuss a second poem of your syllabus. The name of the poem is The Laburnum Top, and the name of the poet is Ted Hughes. So, before we start the poem, let us know about the poet. Edward James Hughes, popularly known as Ted Hughes, was born on 17th August 1930 and he died on 28th October 1998. He was a British poet, translator, and children's writer. He served as Poet Laureate from 1984 to 1998. His love for nature and animals permeates most of his works. In this poem, also, you will notice how beautifully he has drawn a very simple episode. He was also the husband of an equally renowned poet and author, Sylvia Plath. So, before we start the poem, let us have an introduction. The poet has drawn in this beautiful poem a picture of an autumn afternoon. The laburnum tree is silent and still. Its leaves have turned yellow and some seeds have fallen. The whole tree comes to life with the arrival of goldfinch. It's a very small bird, very beautiful bird with yellow feathers. Poet has compared the alert, abrupt, and sleek movement of goldfinch with a lizard. After feeding her young ones, goldfinch flies away towards the infinite sky, and the laburnum tree once again becomes quiet and silent. The poet has compared the laburnum tree with a machine which was started by its engine, goldfinch. So it is, as you can see, very simple, very ordinary episode where a mother comes, she feeds her babies and flies away to the sky. And how beautifully the poet has captured this episode. The poem is all about that. Fine. So next come to the summary. The poem starts with a description of the laburnum tree whose top was still and silent. Its leaves had turned yellow and seeds had fallen down because it is the autumn time. It was a daytime in the month of September when the tree was standing still and death-like. The lifeless tree becomes alive by the arrival of the goldfinch bird. She came to feed her younger ones who are on the thickness of the branch. The tree is her shelter, but of course, where the nest was, and it was her home, her shelter. She arrives at the end of the branch with the chirping sound. She further moves to the other side of the branch with rapid and precautionary movement like a lizard. As soon as she arrives, her younger ones start chirping like a machine and vibrating and flapping their wings. Now, the children, the small nestlings, they were very happy at the arrival of the mother, and they were flapping their wings, and they were just vibrating. The death-like tree becomes alive and it trembles and shakes. After feeding them, she flies to the other side of the branch. Her dark-colored face with the yellow body was barely visible as she vanished behind the yellow leaves. Now, this is the camouflage that she had taken of the laburnum leaves, you can say. She flew away in the sky, leaving the tree death-like again. So this was the whole episode captured by the poet. Now, students, this is your original text. Let us have a recitation of the poem first. The Laburnum Top by Ted Hughes. The laburnum top is silent, quite still in the afternoon yellow September sunlight. A few leaves yellowing, all its seeds fallen. Till the goldfinch comes with a twitching chirrup, a suddenness, a startlement at a branch end. Then, sleek as a lizard and alert and abrupt, she enters the thickness, and a machine starts up of chitterings and a tremor of wings and trillings. The whole tree trembles and thrills. It is the engine of her family. She stalks it full, then flirts out to a branch end, showing her barred face identity mask. Then, with delicate whisperings, She launches away towards the sky and the laburnum subsides to empty. Now let us discuss the poem stanza by stanza. The first one is: the laburnum top is silent, quite still. In the afternoon yellow September sunlight, a few leaves yellowing, all its seeds fallen. So, as I told you earlier, now first of all, let us just know about what is laburnum tree. It is a very beautiful short tree with hanging branches, yellow flowers, and poisonous seeds. So, in Hindi, in our local language, if you say, it is known as amaltas. You these in this season you can just see around wherever you see these trees are quite blossoming, so that you can have a look of that. In the above lines, the poet says that he saw a laburnum tree whose leaves were yellow. The tree's top is still and silent in the daytime of a September month. He's talking about the autumn month when the nature is at its bloom and it is about to just the fall season is there. It is autumn season and all the seeds of the tree had fallen. The poet has used the word yellow for leaves and sunlight. Yellow symbolizes here silence, death, and beauty. He describes the whole scene of the tree with this color. The another thing that the poet has used in this poem is the camouflage of the laburnum tree, these leaves and the wings of a goldfinch, because both are yellow, so easily she can save her nestlings, her babies from the predators. Fine. Now the next stanza comes: till the goldfinch comes with a twitching chirrup, a suddenness, a startlement at a branch end. Then sleek as a lizard and alert and abrupt, she enters the thickness and a machine starts up. Of chitterings and a tremor of wings and trillings, the whole tree trembles and thrills. Now, if you see the rhyming scheme of this poem, it is written in free verse. You cannot see any particular meter or the sound, because it is written in free verse. It is this poem. So here, if we go for the word notes, first of all, twitching, chittering, tremor of wings, trillings, they are all the sound words. Okay, they are the sound words where the poet has brought onomatopoeia words, and these this is you must have done in your previous classes also, where the things are denoted, the words are denoted by the sound words. Like if you say the snake hiss, okay, the bird, the bees, they buzz. So sound words we are using, so that literary device, poetic device, that is known as onomatopoeia. Fine. So this is used here. It gives a kind of three dimension to the poem. So in this stanza, the poet discusses that the goldfinch bird, she comes to end the death-like scene of the tree and makes a sudden chirrup sound. As soon as the mother arrives at that tree, the tree becomes totally vibrant because of its chirping, and it is having a very sudden movement, just like a sleek movement, just like a lizard. The bird, while being rapid, alert, and precautions, she's taking all the precautions just like a lizard, sits on the branches of the tree. As she moved towards the thickness of the branch, her younger ones started chirping and doing vibrations with wings. Now they are aware that mother is around, she must be carrying the food, and they are now full of energy, they are vibrant, they are making sound like a machine. So the tree, which was totally silent, which was totally quiet, it sounds just like a machine. Like when you start a car, the engine makes a sound. So just like the poet has compared here, that the tree becomes a machine, and who was the engine of that tree? Goldfinch. Goldfinch was the engine of that tree, and for her and her family also. See, the nestlings, the babies, they were sitting very quietly in their nest because they were waiting for their mother. and they were also scared of the predators. They were not making any sound, so that otherwise they would catch the attention of the predators. But now when the mother was around, they were also quite vibrant. They were happy. They were happy for the food, for the mother, so they were also making the noise. They were also vibrating with happiness. Now, because of the movement of the bird and her young ones, the tree starts to shake and thrill. The poet has given two opposite scenarios of the tree. The tree first being death-like and still, and then giving life and shelter to bird and her young ones. Now, it is the opposite scenarios. What are the? First of all, it is the poet has compared the tree, the stillness, the quietness of the tree as death-like. But on the contrary, it is giving the shelter. It is giving life to the goldfinch babies. Fine. So next comes, it is the engine of her family. She stocks it full, then flirts out to a branch end, showing her barred face identity mask. Now first go through the word notes. Now flirts out a lead on to go somewhere, then stalks to add fuel to the engine, and barred is stripy. Now, the laburnum tree and the goldfinch bird is the engine of her family. She provides food to her young ones and moves to other branch, and her dark colored striped face is visible as her body is yellow colored and hides behind the yellow leaves of the tree. Now here the poet is saying that the tree, it is the engine of the goldfinch family. The mother bird comes and fuels it by feeding her young ones. The tree comes alive as if an engine has been started, as I told you earlier, as if when the machine starts, the engine makes a sound and vibrations. Once she has stocked it full or fueled the engine of the laburnum tree, she runs to the end of the branch from where her barred face is visible to the spectators. Now, by then, it was totally camouflaged by the leaves of laburnum tree. So now, when she flies away, then only the spectators, they just come to know about her existence on the tree. Fine. So next comes, then with airy, delicate whistle chirrup whisperings, she launches away towards the infinite, and the laburnum subsides to empty. Now again, the poet has used some sound words. Here, airy is weird and strange. Whistle chirrup, which some whisper just like the chirping of the bird that he has used here. After reaching the end of the branch, the bird makes a sweet chirping sound just like whispering and flies away towards the infinite sky. It again makes a laburnum tree silent and death-like. So it was a very small episode when Goldfinch, it comes to the still the death-like laburnum tree, feeds her nestlings, her babies, and then after getting the vibrating happiness of her nestlings, she just flies away to infinite sky just in the search of more food. And the laburnum top, it becomes silent again because she had come just like an engine, and after when the engine stops, the machine also becomes still. So that is the symbolism, that is the parallelism that the poet is using here. Now, what is the central idea of the poem? It's a very simple poem, children. I would suggest again, please go through the original text, try to grasp the meanings of the words, and then only you will be more comfortable in comprehension of this poem. Fine. Now, the central idea. Now, the central idea of this poem is a mutual relationship between a laburnum tree, which is large, beautiful, but quite alone. See, the tree is large, it is beautiful, but it is alone. And a goldfinch bird, which is quite amusing, beautiful, but without a shelter. Now, both of them, they are lacking something or the other. Now, they are trying to complement each other. They are trying to help each other. The laburnum tree gives the house to the bird and its young chicks, and the bird in turn takes away its dead silence. Fine. What the tree is doing? It is providing the shelter to goldfinch and its babies, and in return, what goldfinch is doing? It is maybe for a short time, but it is making that tree lively again, happy again. Otherwise, that tree is totally standing there in silence, in total death like silence. The poet has compared that stillness like death, because whenever there is not any movement, whenever there is not any vibration in life also, that is totally death like. So that's why he's saying that both of them, they are trying to complement each other. The laburnum tree gives the house to the bird and its young chicks, and the bird in turn, what it does, it takes away its dead silence. The poet here in the poem wants to tell the reader the importance of living with each other. Every person has different capabilities and things. We should live with each other and always try to lend a helping hand to others, and they will also in turn will do the same, which makes life more meaningful and happy. Fine, so this was all about the poem. I just hope that you have understood it. Now we will discuss the poetic devices used in the poem. The first one is, I'll go one by one. The first one is alliteration. If you go for the example, September sunlight, the sound S is repeated here, so it will be the alliteration in this. Then comes simile, the comparison, expletives comparison is there, that is the sleek as a wizard. So sleek as a lizard here, the poet has discussed. Then comes metaphor. Now metaphor, it is having a few examples. A machine of chitterings. It is the engine of her family. The comparison is there. The goldfinch, it is compared to the engine. Goldfinch family is compared to a machine or engine. Her barred face identity mask. The shadow on the bird's face is compared to an identity mask. So this is metaphor here. Now, the next poetic device used here is personification. Personification, they have used here a few places. The whole tree trembles and thrills. Trembles and thrills. This is your alliteration also. And here, the tree is also personified. Fine. Then comes the transferred epithet. I had discussed earlier, if you remember, in our first poem, a photograph, we had discussed this poetic device there. Her barred face identity mask. Now here the flowers of the laburnum plant are barred. Barred is restricted to stop something. But there here it is placed before the bird's face. But actually it was using the camouflage of the laburnum leaves, so that is the reason that the poet has used here the transferred epithet. And the last one, which I had discussed during the discussion of the poem, is that is onomatopoeia, that is wherein the poet uses words representing sounds. And here there are many sound words that the poet has used. They are the twitching chirrup, chitterings, trillings, whistle chirrup, whisperings. So these words, they add sounds to the poem and a kind of a three dimension to the poem. When you read it, when you recite this poem, you feel just like the same episode playing in front of your eyes that the poet has described in this poem. Fine. So this was all about the poem. I would recommend once again, class 11, please go through your original text, try to understand the meaning, try to learn the word meanings. That gives you a kind of confidence also. So rest we will discuss in the next lecture. Thank you.